Hello, and welcome to Wine with Rita, the podcast that is dedicated to engaging with health professionals and caregivers in meaningful discussions. I'm your host, Rita Shamoon, or as my clients call me, Rita. I'm a pediatric speech pathologist, and I am so excited to have you here. Each week, we deep dive into connecting you with caregivers and healthcare professionals, sharing their insights, stories, and key takeaways to help you with your child's diagnosis and your journey. Whether you are a parent, healthcare professional, a lifetime learner, or simply a wine enthusiast, you're in the right place. So let's sit back and relax and enjoy today's episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Wine with Rita today. I have a different episode today. We are not discussing disability. We're not discussing pediatrics. We're discussing human behavior. Now, not long ago, I interviewed the gorgeous Anthony Laye, who has inspired my life in so many ways. And during conversations with Nicola, we mentioned her husband, Anthony, and she insisted that I bring Anthony on the podcast because he has a story. Now, Anthony Laye is a renowned behaviour expert who possesses an innate ability to understand human behaviour. Welcome to Wine with Rita, Anthony, this evening.
Thank you very much. I'm very excited to be here.
I'm so excited for this conversation because I hear you're a mind reader.
I make it look like I can read minds on stage. I can create the illusion. I can create the illusion of reading people's minds.
Have you tried it via Zoom?
I haven't tried it via Zoom. It's a medium which, even during COVID, over the 2 and a bit years of COVID, it wasn't anything that. Yeah, I never really dove into it doing it over Zoom.
Yeah. I guess the fact that you have trouble doing it via Zoom really enforces the importance of non-verbal behavior and how that plays a part to interpreting someone's communication, I guess.
Yeah, and look, one thing as well that whenever I'm doing a presentation is that I always like to say that what you're going to see are showpieces. So this is I suppose the performance side of what I do. The performance side of stuff so the mentalism, the mind reading side of things led me down this route of being fascinated by human behavior and understanding how people work. So mind reading mentalism is a branch of magic. The way I like to say it is it's halfway between magic and hypnosis. So there is some trickery that is going on, shall we say? But I use people as props rather than
Tools. Yeah.
say, yeah, like a typical magician would do, where there might be some sort of paraphernalia, shall we say?
Yeah.
So I get people up on stage and then create the illusion of being able to read people's minds.
Yeah. Everyone listening, this episode's going to be magical. So, Anthony, please tell the listeners more about who you are. We just started having a conversation without telling the listeners about the actual role that you do and a bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'll start whereabouts I am now, and then we'll do
Yes.
a quick little backtrack, because then we might end up arriving there and then coming back up to modern day times. So what I currently do is I work on the corporate speaking circuit, going around to different conferences and being pulled into organizations to help people with their communication skills and building their confidence around communication skills. This is something, and when I say communication skills, that people instantly kind of go, oh, excellent, you're going to teach us what we're going to say. And for me, communication always starts with the self. You need to understand yourself first before you can become a better communicator. So I've ended up in this position now because prior to this is where about the mind reading and the mentalism comes into it. I worked on cruise ships as an entertainer doing a mentalism show, which was so much fun, getting to travel around the world on big ships, going from ship to ship. So I was on a ship for maybe 5 or 6 days, and then I'd jump off and then fly to another one and go on there and be in these amazing theaters doing shows for a captive audience as well, or a captured audience. It depends on how you want to word it. And so when I left the cruise ships and then started to work in the corporate arena, they were saying, like a lot of sales teams and stuff were saying, well, can you teach this? So I was doing like gala dinners, awards nights, and I was doing this stuff on stage that made it look like I could make people make all these choices and do all these things. And so sales teams started saying to me, well, can you teach this to our teams? Because this would be really handy. And that's whereabouts I then say, well, look, what you see on stage, that is a performance, that is a show. But the skills that I use on stage as a communicator is that's what I can share with the team. And that's how I can help the team
Mm.
become better communicators. So my entertainment career, though, that didn't start until I arrived in Australia, which was about 16 years ago now. Before that, I was a very introverted small business owner back in the UK, and I got into magic as a late teen as a way for me to be able to, I suppose, cheat being interesting in social situations. I used to find having conversations with people really hard, and so by having a pack of cards, I could pull the cards out and go, choose a card rather than trying to have a conversation.
Mm.
And that was how I got the approval from people, was by apparently being amazing by doing magic. And I started my first business at 21. And this was a carpentry business. So most of my clients and customers, they were of the age of about 35 years plus. And I started the business on my own. So it was just me in this workshop. I had long hair at the time, a, a desperate attempt to try and look like a surfer living in the UK. So I had long hair, goatee beard, and potential clients and customers, they would walk into the workshop and they'd see me stood there and they'd walk straight up to me and say, is the boss around? So I learned very quickly the way that I communicated, the way that I
Yeah.
presented myself, who I was as a person would have a huge impact on whether I was going to be successful in business or not. And with the interest in magic and mentalism, and then this wanting to start a business, it was the catalyst for me really wanting to be able to improve my communication skills, figure out how to be able to, first of all, it was a matter of survival. Like, how can I just be able to have conversations with people and be taken seriously as a business owner? And then over
Mm.
time, obviously, that's evolved. My The position that I'm in now, where I get to travel around Australia and New Zealand and bits of the world as well, and stand on stage and talk about communication skills, for me, I can't believe that I'm in this position, considering that my hands used to like tremble. Like, you could physically see them
Wow.
shaking when I was having conversations with people. So now I suppose I see it as my mission to help others find that inner confidence, because it's opened up so many doors for me. The learning how to be a better communicator opened up so many doors. It's the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing now, because I invested in learning communication skills. And it's
Mm.
a skill which has stood the test of time. We've communicated for thousands of years, albeit it's changed ever so slightly. But that face to face, being able to walk up to somebody and have a conversation, be engaging, and be memorable, is a skill that everybody needs to learn. And unfortunately,
Mm.
we're living in a time now where that skill is slowly starting to fade away.
Yeah, yeah. I absolutely agree. But what I'm finding interesting is how you changed your pain per se and you created a purpose and a successful career out of it. But what I'm mostly interested in, where did this even happen? Where did this even start? Let's look back pre 21 years of age. Did you have difficulties with the actual skill of communication, like an underlying expressive language disorder, or even pragmatic difficulties, or even fluency difficulties? What led you to then
Mm.
having social difficulties like that? As a speech pathologist, there's a trigger. What triggered it? And
Yeah.
that's what I'm
So,
curious about.
I know what my trigger was, and I knew you were going to ask this question.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm a mind reader. So this voice that you can hear now. So if you're, I don't know if you're this. So some of this is video. If you're just listening to it audio wise, this voice that you're hearing now, I have always had a voice this low. When I was a young kid, so from the moment that I was born. So I've got a sister who's 3 years older than me. The first time that she ever met me in the hospital, I just made this growling noise as a baby and scared my sister. And so my entire childhood, I was this kid that had this ridiculously loud voice and a ridiculously low voice. The big moment for me, and I think that this, we can dive into this more in a moment. I, with all the work that I do, and I talk to people about confidence and being more confident, like you're saying, it always stems back to something in childhood happens
Mm.
that causes them to shut their mouth or to stop communicating in the way in which they did before social conditioning was put on them. So I was
Mm.
about, I'm pretty sure it was either 7 or 8 years old, and it was a Christmas nativity play. And if you didn't have a part in the play, like a shepherd or as Joseph or whatever,
Right.
or
No,
the
yeah,
back
yeah.
end or the back end of a donkey, then you had to be in the school choir. So yeah, so you had to be in the school choir. Now this particular year, although I like to think that I was quite a good little actor when I was that age, I didn't get a part in the main play, so I was put into the school choir. And so we were doing our rehearsals in the school gym, the whole school there practicing. There was me singing whatever song it was. I don't know, oh, little town of Bethlehem or little donkey, whatever it was called. There was
Something.
me singing away, singing my little heart out in front of the whole school. The teacher I won't name her, Mrs. Fisher. So she suddenly stopped the whole school, and I could see that her attention came straight towards me, and she said, Anthony, all we can hear is your voice. So can you just pretend to sing so that we don't have to hear you? And it was so that moment in time, I suddenly became very aware of the way that I sounded. And that was the moment when like I said before, there's a moment in time where we end up shutting our mouth. That
Mm.
was the moment in time when I thought, okay, don't speak. I should not be heard because my voice is too much for everybody. I developed a stutter straight away after that moment in
Mm.
time. It's still some to this day, I don't really have the stutter anymore. If I am on stage and I feel a little bit nervous sometimes, I can feel the stutter starting to build up in the back of my throat, or sort of a little bit lower down. You can feel that the muscles are starting to do a bit of a weird thing.
Mm.
And yeah, so that was that big transformative moment for me when all of a sudden I became very aware of the way that I sounded.
I find that so powerful that you can still remember that when it happened so many years ago, and you even remember the exact moment, the exact song, the way you felt, and how you instantly react to that, and that you developed a stutter, which was like a trigger to then limit your communication. How did you mask it or manage it throughout your teens, which and complete other tasks such as a public speaking or anything for academic success?
I think, well, look, I sort of flew under the radar at school after
Mm.
that. So I wasn't ever really part of the cool group or anything like that. I wasn't in I wasn't in the sort of outcast group. I wasn't in the cool group. I think that happening to me made me just say, just don't stand out in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Don't stand out. Just go. So my friendship group wasn't even in my year. So I chose people that were slightly older than me that I would hang out with, that were then part of clubs outside of that. But we never really did anything to stand out. So I think it caused me to make myself smaller.
Mm.
And maybe that's maybe that's the reason why at a later date I decided to go into entertainment to make up for
Yeah, yeah.
for
And I
all of
think,
my staying quiet throughout my childhood.
sorry to interrupt you, but see, what just came to me now when you said earlier you would use magic tricks so people can engage with you because that's a non-verbal act, right? Here, look at my magic trick. People might find me interesting because how Mrs. Fisher pretty much not destroyed, but put such a negative aspect to your
Yeah.
voice. you found the joy in connecting another way, which then allowed your voice not to be heard, which I think it's so heartbreaking to hear that a young child experienced that, but you managed it very well.
I will say, Rita, I've never actually thought of it like that. Thanks for thanks for bringing some extra trauma to to my desire to become a magician. Now I've realised why I wanted to become a magician. I
I
should have done a
promise that
silent
wasn't my
magic act, like
intention.
a Charlie Chaplin magic act, maybe.
What a good story to tell. The speech pathologist thinks it's all my trauma. Oh, goodness. But hey, look at the gorgeous beauty of it. There was a challenge, a trigger, your communication difficulties, but then you became a carpenter and then learnt the gorgeous beauty of nonverbal communication and behavior. Now, the reason why I'm finding this episode incredibly interesting, as a speech pathologist, I say behavior is communication. And when I work with non speaking children, I find them so intriguing because they show us what they're trying to tell us. But now, you on the flip side, you teach adults how to use nonverbal communication or even their own confidence to express what they need. I want to know more about that and what can we tell people to believe in themselves to be better communicators?
Okay, so how do you want to dive into this? Like, what angle do you want to come at here with this?
Well, if we look at let's look. So if we look at the young kids that I work with, we always look at how they might be pointing, their body posture, their eye contact,
Yeah.
their smile, their what else would it be? So if they use gestures, I'm not assuming adults would use gestures, but body posture I think would be one for you. Eye contact would be one, and facial expressions. I want to know a bit more about that.
Yeah. I think when it comes to communication with adults, the first thing that I like to do is build up awareness. So I get people to start thinking about journaling how they communicate. In what situations do they find themselves making themselves smaller? So the way that I like to say it is, first of all, think about your body language. Is your body language open and expansive? And that doesn't mean that you're gesturing like a crazy person, but are you able to use your gestures to be open, to which can then show other people trust? Or are you making yourself smaller? Are you crossing limbs across the center line of your body, which
Mm,
then, so this not only makes you feel, so because you're starting to hug yourself, so it starts to make you feel insecure in yourself because you're protecting yourself, but also those people that you're communicating with or communicating to, non-verbally, they're going to pick up on that, and they, even though they don't know that they're reading that information, they're going to get this vibe from you, or
mm,
some people call it intuition, some people call it a gut feeling, but they're going to go, do you know what, that person's saying all of the right things. The words that are coming out of their mouth are the right words, but something doesn't feel right.
yeah.
And then that comes down to the nonverbal side of things. And I can't remember the exact figures on this. There was a study that was done with children, in that they display different nonverbal patterns. You might actually know the numbers to this, but they display a different number of nonverbal patterns and gestures before they go into school. And I think it's the number's over like 400 or something like that. By the time a child leaves school, so as it goes through that conditioning of being told to sit down, don't talk, like now's not the time, go over there, like please be quiet. All these things, don't move around so much, like sit down, sit on
Mm.
your hands. That old classic of sit on your hands. By the time a child then leaves school in their teen years, those gestures and the nonverbal displays that they have been reduced down to under 100. I can't remember the exact study,
Wow, I don't
but,
know
but
this, but that's the first time I've heard of this actually. It's fascinating.
but it's that social conditioning to, because when we're told to be quiet, when we're told to not be so loud, when we're told to not move around so much, if you think about our brain has been wired from thousands of years ago to be part of a tribe, and if you were to act in a way that the tribe didn't like, you would be ejected from the tribe. but that part of our
Mm.
brain still exists inside of us. So when at school we're told to sit down, be quiet, it starts to fire up that part of the brain and say, well, I need to pull myself into alignment here. Otherwise, I might find myself as an outcast. I'll get this social rejection. But then we carry that all the way through our lives, and it slowly gets less and less.
Mm.
So a bit like you have I'm going to say a sweet, but if you're listening in Australia, it's a lolly. But in a wrapper, so a little boiled. We called them boiled sweets in the UK, but
Yeah.
they're in a wrapper and it's twisted up. And I see it as that gets tighter and tighter and tighter, that wrapper, as we go through school, as we get socially conditioned, and we get worried about social judgment and being ejected out of the group. What I then encourage people to do is go, okay, let's start opening up that wrapper a little bit, because if you're able to express yourself more clearly, if you're able to gesture a bit more, if you're able to use your voice
Mm.
differently when you're communicating, and not the words that you say, but in how you use your voice, then you become a much better communicator with other people. You become much more interesting as a communicator
Mm.
with other people. But so many people struggle with that because they've spent so long making themselves smaller and shrinking down that they've massively tied their identity to the way that they communicate. And so when you then start to work with adults and you say, well, okay, let's get you to be a bit more expressive when you're talking, they find
Mm.
it really uncomfortable because it doesn't fit with the identity that they have created in their mind about themselves. And that's the
I
biggest
get that.
challenge.
Yeah, 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 I get that. I'm even reflecting on a time with myself, like, I've got a quite a loud laugh, and when I was younger, the family
My
was
goal now is to get you to laugh, just so you know.
it's the eye squint, I might snort or something at the I might
Right,
even
we're on.
my cousin actually just came to me now, my cousin, she might be listening to this, so she's given me trauma. She used to call me Muttley the dog whenever I would laugh, like, I can't even remember, how does Muttley even laugh? Is it like
Muttley
like, I
goes,
used to laugh like Muttley. Like a
yeah, yeah, yeah,
like
that's
I'm like
it.
he's gasping. I can't even remember what it's like. But every time I would laugh, she would say, "You sound like Muttley the dog." And I would look at her thinking, was that a backhanded compliment or were you being kind? And so everyone else would laugh at her comment and I then in turn would stop laughing because it didn't make me feel good. However,
Yeah,
Anthony, when I started this podcast, they talk about being authentic and your true self. What makes people connect with me more now is when I laugh like the Muttley, when I am my true self and I'm laughing. And so I love how you've also said social conditioning is that I experienced that and I stopped being my true authentic self back then because of how someone made a comment about my laughter and I didn't want to do it anymore because it felt so uncomfortable. But I just find it so fascinating how all adults are just doing that now without them even recognizing there's a reason to it.
yeah, yeah. And I mean, anybody listening, every single person listening, your identity is massively tied to the way that you communicate.
Yeah.
If I was to take any of the listeners and say, okay, communicate completely differently, it would feel so incongruent to that
Yeah.
person. But we need to start playing around with the way that we communicate, which then allows
Mm.
us to create a new identity, a more confident version of ourselves. And this is the thing. This is the thing with confidence. So many people think that confidence is okay. I'm going to go on YouTube and I'm going to look up how to. So if we talk about communication, they go onto
Mm.
YouTube, they type in how can I be more confident in my communication, and then they get 10 tips. Do these 10 things. Those things, they're all very well and good, but if you haven't sorted out what's going on underneath the surface, then they're never going to work. That's just you
Mm.
adding on. And there's a really I like to reference it, and I really should go and find the actual quote of what was said because I reference it a lot in the
Mm.
work that I do. But Michelangelo talks about a block of marble and then sculpting, creating the sculpture of, I think it was the sculpture of David. He said, in order to reveal the beauty, I chip away, I don't add. And I think
I've heard
that's the
this.
problem. That's a problem that we have now, is that people are going, I want to feel more confident. Okay, I'm going to go out and I'm going to add these things to myself. And they're adding all of this stuff to themselves, but they're not sorting out what's going on inside. So for me, confidence is something that you reveal.
Mm,
So we take off some of the things that have started to make us small over our lives, traumatic experiences that have happened, whether that was a teacher, whether it was a parent that said something to you, whether it was a friend that or a cousin that laughed at you because you sound like Muttley
mm.
when you laugh. And we start to put these things onto ourselves, which then make us smaller. And if we can break free of
Yeah.
if we can break free of those things, all of a sudden, these extra little tips that we then might find on the internet, they're going to work.
Mm.
That allows us to take it to the next level. I remember very clearly when I was working on the cruise ships doing the entertainment, and I used to feel physically sick. I would be backstage thinking, why am I doing this to myself? This is ridiculous. You had Nicola on, I think it was either
Yeah,
last week
yeah.
or the week before. She's a big part of the reason why I got out of my comfort zone. So she would push me into situations that I was terrified of, but she physically pushed me. And I'm talking physically pushed. She actually
Pushes you.
physically pushed me. And so I got used to putting myself into high levels of discomfort. And so I was stood. I remember I was on a cruise ship. I've probably been doing the cruise ships for about 2.5 years. So for 2.5 years, I've been petrified backstage, wondering when I walk out on stage, what happens if people don't laugh?
Don't
What
laugh
happens
at
if
me.
I do a
Yeah.
trick? What happens if I'm doing a trick and it doesn't work, or someone sees a secret move that I try and do? What happens if I forget what I'm going to do on stage? What happens if people get up and they walk out? Just so many different thoughts would go through my head, and I'd be petrified before I walked out. And I remember, so I was very much in performance mode and very much trying to
Mm.
protect myself the entire time, trying desperately hard to remember everything. And I remember I was backstage one night, and I don't know why it suddenly came to me, but I had this sudden thought. Do you know what? This isn't about me. This is about the audience. If I just go out there and make it about them and let them have a good time and them enjoy it, then let's see how that goes.
Yeah.
That night, everything changed. The way that people responded to the show was completely different. More people would come up to me after the show and talk to me and ask me questions because I'd connected with them, because all of a sudden I had become a real person up on stage. I wasn't trying to protect
Mm.
myself. I just let myself go in that moment and just became me doing something that I absolutely loved on stage. Yeah, I was still nervous, but I was loving every moment of it. And that completely changed my performance career. I
Yeah.
think that
It's
was the
like
thing
you.
that then yeah, that was the thing that's just suddenly opened up the doors to me becoming, without wanting to be, I don't want to sort of sound like I'm blowing my own trumpet here, but a charismatic entertainer rather than
Yeah,
someone that
I
was
get
on
it.
stage doing tricks.
I so get that. It's like you took the pressure of off yourself as a performer and how you will be, but more finding the joy in what you do for somebody else. And two things came to my head when you said that. When we're trying to understand behavior, why someone does that, it's not necessarily about you, it's about them and how what's going on in their mind and their world. And even when I'm working with young kids, it's about connecting with the child. So connection then creates communication, is what I believe in my business. That when you can connect to the person, you then open up the passage for them to communicate. So in your industry, when you were performing, you connected, they laughed, they loved it, they wanted you more. So we have phrases here tonight: behaviors, communication, connection creates communication. Like it's amazing. We're aligning here, Anthony.
We are very, we should do, because at the end of the day, it is communication. I'm just coming at
Yeah,
it
yeah,
from working with adults that are really just kids with trauma, and they're
yeah,
communicating from that place. That's the way that they are communicating.
yeah.
And can I swear on your podcast? or not?
Absolutely. Go for it.
Okay, so I've got a little phrase that I have going on in the back of my mind the entire time. This is from that little experience that I had before I walked on stage. This little mantra, or I like to call it a little bit of programming. So I've got a little program running in the back of my mind is that's like my operating system.
Mm,
This is a way. So this is a way that I see every single day, and that is there isn't a single person that I meet, there isn't a single presentation that I give, there isn't a single Zoom call that I jump onto where the
mm.
person or the people that I am in front of woke up that morning saying to themselves, I hope every single person I meet today is boring as batshit. There is not one person that actually wants to enter into a
Says that.
conversation or meet
No
somebody
way.
who's boring. They want to have a good time. And if you
Yeah.
can be that person that becomes the catalyst or allows the permission to have fun
Yeah.
in a conversation, then you're going to become memorable. You're going to create connections with other
Yeah.
people that you would
Yeah.
never have had before, because so many people, they're worried about how they're going to be perceived by others. And all they're looking for is for somebody to give them permission. And if you can just turn up and just have a little bit of fun with somebody, and they
Yeah.
go, oh, finally, someone's given me permission to just be myself.
Mm.
But you have to be yourself first. So if you
Yes.
want to, I always think that whatever you bring to a conversation, whether that's you working with kids, whether that's me working with adults, whether that's two random people, what you bring, you will get back. So if you want it to be an
Mm.
upbeat conversation, then you bring the upbeat. If you want it
Mm,
to
mm,
be,
mm.
if you want somebody to smile, you smile first. If you want someone to be more open and more vulnerable, you do it first.
Body. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. So agree. Like, I just love it because it's everything that I am as an individual when I'm building relationship with a 2-year-old, being my true authentic self and being the most playful that I am in my own self brings this child to not necessarily life, but brightens the child and helps them in so many ways. And everyone says, "How do you do it? What do you do?" I'm like, nothing special. I'm just being me. And if we can start to encourage parents to start being themselves more with their children, we then create the gorgeous connection, which then in turn, though, Anthony, will allow the child to be their true self as well as they grow up as well, which I think is such a beautiful gift to give all kids.
Yeah, I love that. And
Mm,
I think we also need to remember that the kids learn through osmosis by purely,
yeah.
so they're looking to us as parents to be the role models. So how we communicate, whether we have conversations with people out in like Nicola talks to so whenever we go out, we're walking along and we go, where's mum gone? Oh, she's chatting to somebody again. But
Yeah.
because of that, the kids have become very, very conversational, and
Yeah.
I I'm very proud of my kids in that they're both really confident. My youngest suffered with a bit of anxiety for a while.
Mm,
We managed to work our way through that. But now the school that she's at now, she had to be the narrator at a play that they did the other day, and she was very excited about doing that.
mm.
And because so I'm gonna tie this together in a cool little bow. I
Yeah.
got something
Yeah.
exciting. I'm
Pretty
gonna
bow,
share with
go
you.
for it.
So so there's this whole. I'm sure that it was Jim Rohn that said you become the average of the 5 people that you spend time
Yes.
with. So
Yes.
there's that quote. Whether it's 5 people or however many people it is, but who you surround yourself with is going to influence you. Whether you're an
Mm,
adult, whether you're a kid, the people that you surround yourself with are going to have an influence on your the way that you view the world, the way that you speak, the way that you act, the way that you behave.
mm.
So, as parents, we need to be aware that our kids are going to learn through osmosis. Now, I don't,
Yeah.
even though I run training programs within companies on communication skills, I don't sit the kids down and start to teach them. However, my youngest Nella, so she's 10, just turned 10. We've just She came home the other day with this kind of report thing just here. Now, it's a bit hard
Oh,
for you to
yeah. So she has
see.
to do homework or something. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So you see, you've got 5 levels: one, two, three, four, and five. Five obviously being the top one. She got a five on body language, eye contact, and voice
Uh,
projection and clarity. I have not taught her how to be a better speaker, better communicator, purely by
mm,
myself and Nicola being good role models as
yeah,
communicators. They have learned by osmosis, and it is a skill that I honestly believe as we move forwards in this world now of technology, where people are becoming scared of talking to each other because everything's done via text,
yeah,
those people that maintain the skill of being good communicators are going to have like a huge advantage.
yeah, 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 yeah. So, so does that then? So, because I think we're both great communicators, does that mean we're going to be an outcast in the near future, especially with AI coming along and so forth?
I don't think that we'll be an outcast. We definitely won't be an outcast.
Or minority even? Because
I
no,
do believe that we're going
how
to
do we
become,
rephrase the question? Yeah.
yeah, I do think that I don't think that we're going to become outcasts. I do think that people with high communication skills are going to become in the minority and highly
Yeah.
sought after.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
so, so this is my insight. This
Yeah,
is my
yeah, yeah.
insight
This is the mind
from the
reading
magic
thing.
world. This is my insight from the magic world. So I've been involved in magic for a very long time now.
Yeah,
One
yeah.
thing that I have noticed is a lot of magicians get into magic because a lot of them are socially quite awkward.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you have the few magicians that have the charisma that go out and they perform and are able to connect with people, because a big part of magic is being able to connect with the people that are in front of you. And some of the greatest magicians in the world, they they have a team of creators behind them that come up with the ideas for the tricks. So you have these very intelligent, very creative minds that are able to come up with a way of making this illusion happen. A lot of the time, and if anybody in the magic community listening now might I might ruffle some feathers here, but I'm going to go for it anyway. But those creators are normally the ones that I would say are a little bit introverted, a little bit more socially awkward. But they become the creators for the showman, that person that then stands on stage and then presents the trick.
Mm,
So you've got this world of people that are coming up with amazing ideas, but then you need a communicator out the front to be able to share that idea with an audience.
yeah.
And I think the same thing's going to happen as we move close, like further into this world of AI. We're going to have these amazingly clever people that can come up with all of these cool bits of either engineering software or bits of software and tech and that kind of thing
Mm, mm.
that are highly technical, but they don't have the communication skills. So they're then going to look for the communicators to be able to talk about these ideas. So
Yeah.
I think the same thing that's happened in magic is going to happen in
Mm,
the world, that we're going to have
mm.
really clever people that can't share their concept or their idea with the world. So then they need to find a really good communicator. So the two are going to work
Mm,
hand in hand. That's
yeah.
what I honestly think is going to happen.
You're so right. And it just makes you question, how can we create support our kids to continue to be clever in their expertise or whatever interest they have, but also encourage them to be successful communicators as well, which I find it's interesting. It's interesting. It's interesting. I want to know, Anthony, after all of that we've discussed today, with all the knowledge that you have, with all the growth that you've experienced, if you were to go back to your Christmas musical when you were 7,
Mhm.
and you were the boy standing next to yourself, and Miss Fisher said, "You're too loud, don't talk," what would you tell yourself?
The honest answer here,
Yeah.
if I was going to go back and tell myself something, I would tell myself it's part of the process.
Oh, mm.
Because had that not happened, would I be whereabouts I am now? I don't know.
I don't know.
And, and I genuinely love the position that I am in. I feel that
Yeah,
you
yeah,
need to go
yeah.
through those those big moments in order to get the learnings that you need in order to be able to move forwards. And life's going to present you with a lot of moments like that.
Mm.
And it's the minds, yeah, it's the mindset that you have that will help you through those times. So I wouldn't everything that's happened to me over the years, I wouldn't change a single
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
If I was
Absolutely.
ever if I was ever going to give myself one piece of advice, but then again, if I did, would I be in a different place? It would be
Yeah.
to back myself more. I feel that
Mm.
that experience, it did cause me to have a little bit of lack of confidence in terms of me backing myself. And people listening may go, well, hang on a minute, you've stood on stages, you've gone on TV and done all this stuff, you've backed yourself. I've doubted myself a lot, but
Mm.
I've been very disciplined in pushing myself out of my comfort zone.
How did you stop? How did you re-encourage yourself from doubting yourself all the time? Just believing in your ability?
That's a good question, because I definitely have felt a lot of self-doubt in
Yeah.
myself. I think it's just knowing that I have to step into that discomfort. I have to, I have to feel the uncertainty so that I can learn the certainty of that situation, because everything that we don't know is uncertain.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Every thought that
I
we
love
have is
that.
just
I'm gonna write that as a quote. You have to get comfortable in the uncertainty to then become certain. Is that what you said?
yeah, because anything that you don't
Yeah, it's
know
so
is
true.
uncertain to
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
then
yeah.
so that part of your brain that's trying to avoid any pain or anything that's different, because our brain wants to know what's going to happen. It wants to be able to predict what's
Yeah,
going to happen.
predictability. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you go, okay, right, I'm going to go and do that. And the brain goes, well, hang on a minute. We don't know what's going to happen here. So we should pull you away. But
Yeah.
we don't realize that that's what's going on. We just have these, that logical part of our brain starts coming up with reasons. But it's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
really that deeper part of the brain that's holding us back. So we start to fill the uncertainty with made up scenarios from our own head. So
Yeah.
we're not actually really scared. So we're not scared of the uncertainty. We're purely scared of what we put into the gap. So the
Mm.
thoughts that we put into the gap, that's all we're scared of, is just the thoughts that we put in there, not the actual uncertainty, because we don't know
Mm,
what's going to
mm,
happen.
mm. We don't know what's gonna happen.
So
I
we
feel
mess
so
ourselves
inspired
up
after this
badly.
chat. I feel so inspired. I feel like I wanna laugh like Muttley. That's how inspired I
I
am.
feel that I feel just disappointed that I haven't made you laugh like Muttley, although unfortunately I am.
Maybe it's my
Well,
belief system not letting me do it. Professional reader, professional reader. No, but what I'm loving about
not,
this
not enough
episode
wine.
today,
That's what it is.
there's no wine. It's only water tonight. But what I'm loving about this episode, we've really just touched on the basic that everyone knows: authenticity, being your true self, connection creates the communication, your behavior can determine how people interpret you and how people connect with you. Yeah. And most importantly, your mindset. Your mindset matters always. Anthony, there are many businesses that are listening here and young businesses who are holding back because of their own internal beliefs and the social conditioning. Could you give advice or three bits of advice how to encourage people to strengthen their mindset?
Okay, three bits of advice to strengthen your mindset. Number one, which I'm going to say, I don't think many people will do it, but I'm going to say it anyway. That is to really understand yourself. Go back,
Mm,
look at what happened in your past
mm,
that shaped who you are today, that has made you act and behave in the way that you are today. So that's number one. Number two would be, whenever you find yourself holding back, and this isn't just in communication, this is in any situation, whenever you find yourself holding back, write it down. So I got it. I don't think I got it down here. I normally have my journal. Oh, I do. It's right there. So I have my journal, which I every
mm.
single day, and at the back of the journal, I have a little section. And anytime I feel myself holding back, or a worry comes up, or that horrible voice starts to pop up inside
Mm,
my
mm,
head,
mm, mm.
I will write down what the thought is. I will then go into conversation with myself inside the
Wow.
book. So I will start to
Yeah.
journal. Why did this come up? What was I trying to avoid? What was I scared of? Why was I scared of that?
Mm.
Is there any reason to be scared of that? Then I'll give this as the third tip as well then. And that would be to justify to yourself why that is a good belief to have. Because once you
Mm.
start trying to justify it to yourself, you'll realize
It
how
sounds
ridiculous
silly.
it sounds.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you go, that's just stupid. Why am I even believing that? So
Yeah,
it's really about rewriting the code
yeah,
as to the program that is running inside your mind, because most people are unaware of the code that is going
yeah.
on. The only way that you can become aware of the code is to bring it into awareness.
Mm,
This goes a lot into sort of the Carl Jung sort of work of shadow work, but bringing all those things that are holding us back and bringing them
mm,
out into the light so that we can see them. By writing them down, by noticing them and writing them down, it brings them out into the light. It allows you to start looking at them from a different perspective, which then starts to create change. So I think a lot of people, like I mentioned earlier on, you're going on YouTube and trying to find these things, but we think we need to take these big actions to make these big changes. I need to start doing this to make a big change for myself.
mm,
What I found is that if you start out with awareness, so if you can create enough awareness around it, sometimes you don't even need to start doing anything. You just create awareness, you notice that you're doing it more and more, and the change happens organically, purely by bringing awareness
mm,
to it. So I use my phone, and anybody who's listening on Spotify or whatever, on the home screen of my phone, I have a message written on there, and I'll have different ones. But whatever
mm,
I'm currently working on at that time, so if it's, let's just say, if we talk about communication skills that you always you let's just say that you're not a very good listener. I would just have one word on there, which would just be listen. So every time you pick your
mm,
phone up, the screen lights up, it's reminding you, listen, like be a good listener. So bring it into
mm.
awareness as much as possible. Is that three? I think that's
Yeah,
three.
yeah,
But I would
3,
also
3,
say as
yeah,
well, just
yeah.
you'll really understand your mindset. How do you how do you play in this world? And what do you think is going to happen? Because if you're
Mm.
constantly thinking that negative stuff's going to happen all the time, that's what your brain's going to go out there and find. It's going to go
Yeah,
out there and
yeah,
seek it to prove that you are right,
yeah,
and
yeah.
we need to
It
be
goes
comfortable
back
with. Yeah,
it goes back to what you said, the 5 people that you hang around with, or the 5 average are what you'll become, but also your thoughts are what you're going to become too. So start telling yourself you're amazing and you are amazing, and then amazing things will happen. So it comes back down to building that self-belief, which I feel starts when they're young. Your parents do that for
yeah,
children, and it's how the parents are. It's like, oh, the 360, here we go again. And we start to how we talk to our kids and how we communicate to our kids. And as you beautifully said, with osmosis and your daughter, with being at level 5 or number 5 or score 5 of
level 5.
nonverbal
Yep,
communication.
level
Yeah,
5.
and you didn't teach her, you showed her. You showed her.
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
mm,
And I suppose for anybody listening now that's thinking, well, hang on a minute, I'm an adult now. There's no
yeah,
hope. There's no hope.
there is.
I'm broken. There is a lot of hope, and
Yeah,
that is to go back.
yeah,
Whenever I do any training with anybody, they come in thinking I'm going to teach them how to hold better posture when they're presenting or how to use their voice differently. That's never the case. Probably
mm,
spend the first 6 weeks lifting up the hood and saying, okay,
yeah,
who are you? And why are you the person that you are?
yeah,
And what needs to be recoded in order to get you that way? And there's lots of ways that can be
yeah,
done, whether that's done through hypnosis or I mean, Nicola's breath work as well is a
yeah,
fantastic way for people to start to shed off some of
and that
those things that
helped
have been
me.
holding them back. Yeah,
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 that helped me a lot. Yeah.
that
You
cage
say
that we put on ourselves.
you say that
Mm.
word broken because there are so many adults that are broken, and they just don't know that they are until they're triggered and they wanna self-improve themselves.
Yeah, I'm thinking, should I have used the word broken there? But I think people
No, but
think
it's
that they're
true. I can
broken.
see why you say it, though. I can see why
Yeah,
you say
but
it.
I don't think people are broken. I think people think that they're broken,
Yeah.
but it's just an awkward cage that they put on
Mm,
themselves. So they're moving like they feel like they're broken. But if they can
mm,
just like shed off that cage, just let it all go, drop the mask that they're wearing, then all of a sudden they'll go, oh, it's much easier to move. I feel like I'm working properly again.
Yeah. Anthony, this has been amazing. I've loved this interview. It's been remarkable. I feel inspired. I feel motivated. I feel more empowered to be me. And if I only felt that in 40 minutes of a discussion, imagine what it would be like working with you. How can anyone work with you as a coach or even have you as a guest on their show? How can they contact you?
They can either contact me through email, which is very simple. It's anthony@anthonylaye.com, or Instagram, which is @AnthonyLayeSpeaks. And I'm also on YouTube, but that's @AnthonyLaye. Any of those platforms there, you'll be able to get hold of me.
And
And
I will include all of those in the show
yeah,
notes as well, so anyone can access you there. And in the content, you'll see I will tag Anthony. Anthony, Master of Communication, thank you for coming on Wine with Rita, with specialist in communication.
yeah. Thanks for having me. It's been super fun.
It's been so fun. Now, Anthony, I ask all my guests this question. Now it's your turn. If you were to be a better version of yourself tomorrow, what word will you apply to yourself today?
Is it only one word?
Just one word. What did
I feel like
Nicola use?
I
Nicola
need to give an
used
explanation behind it, though.
You don't have to. That's the gorgeous thing. Just say the word and anyone can interpret it the way they want to.
Okay, all right. One word.
It's for you
Unlocked.
though, remember that. There's a
Unlocked.
lot?
No,
Unlock. Ooh,
unlocked. Unlocked.
that's a great word.
I feel like I
Now
need
I
to
wanna
go. I
know
feel like I need to
I wanna know
explain
now the
it.
explanation. Tell me the explanation. Tell me.
So, do you want me to say the explanation?
Yeah, go.
Okay. So probably about 4 or 5 times a week, I go through a self hypnosis session. I
You
normally
do
do
it
it when
yourself?
I'm so on the headphones
Oh,
on,
okay. Yeah.
and so it's quite a deep hypnosis. So it's like hypnosis within hypnosis, and in part of the hypnosis, you're laying down and you peel yourself out, and then you look back down at yourself. And for me, I know that there's a few parts of my life where I hold myself back.
Mm,
And I've got in my way my entire life by holding myself back in these few areas. And every single time that I do the hypnosis session, that is what I say to myself. I will stop getting in the way. So that's the
mm,
reason why I say unlocked, is because that's what I would change. And it's you asked a question, but it's something that I am programming in each and every single
yeah.
day with this hypnosis track that I'm doing.
Well, you found the key. Now you just have to unlock it.
Yeah.
I was trying to wrap up this conversation with like a nice filler. Well, thank you, Anthony, for being a guest on Wine with Rita. And as I said, if you would love to contact Anthony, his information is in the show notes. Again, thank you, everyone. And we'll see you next time on Wine with Rita. Thank you for tuning into another episode of Wine with Rita. I hope you found some new inspiration, learnt something new, or gained a fresh perspective. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd be so grateful if you please leave a 5-star review, as it really helps the show get in the ears of new listeners, plus it takes 5 seconds. If you're keen for more strategies and insights, then head over to Instagram and follow RS Speech Pathology.